particular mandate and strengthening the country's intellectual property and technology portfolios in the DOST, subject to the usual accounting and auditing rules and regulations. These orders shall take effect immediately and shall remain in force and effect until the accomplishment of the purpose for which this technical working committee was created. Signed, Fortunato T. de la Peña, DOST Secretary. The House rules that will govern the conduct of this public hearing. 1. A member from the TWG Secretariat will read each proposed amended provision. 2. Participants may comment or ask clarificatory questions after each provision was read. 3. Any participant who wishes to comment or ask clarificatory questions should raise his or her hand in order to be recognized and must cite his or her full name and office being represented. 4. The comments will be duly noted by the TWG Secretariat. The clarificatory questions may be answered by the TWG members. And 5. Only the comments or clarificatory questions which pertain to the proposed amended provisions of the IRR of RA10055 shall be recognized. And now, we will start the reading of the proposed amendments. Only those provisions which were amended will be read. In red font. Joint DOST IPOFIL Administrative Order Number, amending the implementing rules and regulations of RA10055. The implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act Number 10055 for a better and more effective implementation of the law. Now, therefore, the following joint administrative order covering the revised rules and regulations implementing Republic Act Number 10055 are hereby promulgated, adopted, and prescribed for the information and guidance of all concerned. Any comment or clarificatory question? None? Next, please. Chapter 1, Declaration of Policy and Objective, Scope and Other General Provisions. Rule 1, no revision. Next, please. Continuation of Rule 1, no revision. Next, please. Continuation of Rule 1, no revision. No revision. Rule 2, objective, no revision. Next, please. Rule 3, definition of terms. The itemization were revised. A, B, and C. Next, please. Letter E, Fairness Opinion Board refers to an independent third-party body composed of experts from the public and private sector as may be determined by the DOST. Members of this body shall have no conflict of interest as to the transaction that it shall evaluate and shall be bound with the confidentiality of the documents in accordance with Rule 11. Any comments? Yes, sir. Please state your name and the office being represented.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Fortunato T. de la Peña, DOST Secretary. This is a Dr. Emmanuel Sibu from Summer State University. I just want to ask from the PWD as to how would you know that the person who will be who will become a member of the board, that he has no personal interest, or I mean a conflict of interest, or project or technology. How would you know?
Okay, sir. Thank you for the clarification. So, ever since Tapi was currently the secretary to the Fairness Opinion Board, when we select members to the FOB, what we usually do is we ask the requesting party, the one who wish to secure a Fairness Opinion report, for their recommendees. Definitely, you will know if you are the requesting party, you will know if the person you are recommending to us as member has no conflict of interest or does not have any bias on the proposed transaction. Now, on our part, the Secretary to the Fairness Opinion Board, we have a pool of experts in our database whom we can recommend to the Office of the Secretary as member of the Fairness Opinion Board. For us to be ensure that this member has no conflict of interest, we ask them to confirm first. Because they will have to sign a statement of no conflict of interest, and they will have to sign a document stating that they have interest. So if they sign that document and yet they have conflict of interest, then they will be bound by that particular document.
And may I add something to that? On the conflict of interest, the member of the board should have no association, firstly, to the technology or the proposed commercial transaction of the technology, so that that person should not have any participation on the technology. In whatever capacity, as the researcher, member of the Research and Development Institute. Also, that person should not be associated or should not be connected with the requesting party. Okay, so based on those two things or two factors, there is presumption that there is no, oh well, these are bases to say that that person has no conflict of interest as to the transaction, which will be evaluated. So, in terms of association on the technology, which is the subject matter of the proposed transaction, and in terms of association on the requesting party.
And also, if I may add, also a relationship or association to the potential adapter or licensee. Wala siyang interaction or association both with the licensor and the licensee. Yes, sir.
Morning po. My name is Danny Largo. I'm with University of San Carlos, Cebu. I want to ask a question regarding or related to that earlier question with regards to the conflict of interest issue of the Organization Board. Will the member be required to make a declaration of no conflict of interest as part of this? So otherwise, if we will not declare, how would we know that there is conflict of interest?
Yes, sir. Actually, you will be asked to sign the document stating that he has no conflict of interest. So therefore, if he has, then he should not be signing that document.
Some more questions? None. Next, please. Fairness Opinion Report refers to the report submitted by the Fairness Opinion Board expressing its opinion as to the fairness of the requesting party, particularly its financial terms. Any comment? More question? None? Next, please. Letter I, letter J. Yes, sir.
I just want to be clarified, if the performance of a certain technology shall not be included in the permits report, performance, the acceptability of the technology since it's already, when the technology is being commercialized, we have seen to it that it is well accepted by the society community, and of course, include the performance of the technology. It should be included in the permits opinion report. That's only my opinion. Thank you.
Duly noted, sir.
Well, we note, sir, your suggestion that the technical aspect of the technology should be included in the evaluation of the fairness payment,
Acceptability of the
the
technology,
social, technical, whatever, other economic,
including
environmental aspects. Unfortunately, sir, as I mentioned a while ago during my welcome remarks, we will only be limited to the limits of the law itself. The law provides that the evaluation of the Fairness Opinion Board will only focus on the financial terms, the financial aspect of the transaction, meaning the licensing agreement. The focus is more on the financial, determining whether it is fair to the requesting party, the financial terms in the proposed transaction. But then there are two kinds of report that we are proposing here in this revised IRR. We also have this written recommendation coming from the Secretary, and perhaps that technical, economic, social, and other factors could be included in such report.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Attorney Marlon. Some more question? None? Next, please. Letter I, letter J, no revision. Letter A, no revision. L, M, no revision. P, Q, no revision. Sir, you are raising your hand.
Good morning to the Technical Working Committee as well as to my colleagues. I just want to be clarified.
Sir?
Sorry, sir.
This is
I am Nasichand Ramsey from Iloilo Science and Technology University. Before proceeding, I just want to be clarified of the GFAs and RDIs. So this is my question. Not necessarily a question, but a query. Is there a time that the RDI will also be the GFA? In our case, since we are one of the state universities in the Philippines, we are a government institution, and as we know, the institution or there is a mandate for the university to conduct research, and of course it has a 5% out of its budget for research. So, for example, the university will conduct research and it will fund its research. Does it make the university the RDI and the GFA itself? Thank you.
Yes, in one particular project, an entity may be both a government funding agency, a GFA, or a research development institute as or the RDI. So if in a particular project, the one which funds is a GFA, it's a government office which funds the R&D, and the one whose researchers conduct the RD or the research and development project is called the RDI. So if in a research project, an entity is involved in either funding or in the performance of the research, then you may both be a GFA and the RDI, in which case all the rights and responsibilities as GFA or RDI under RA10055 would be applicable to you.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm from a private institution, will a GFA can also be considered, can the private institution be considered also a GFA if it funds collaborating institution, like we receive funding from the government, but we have collaborators, and we have internal agreement, and we provide them the fund. Will it be considered as a GFA?
Even if you're a private institution, but if in a particular R&D there is government fund involved, then that is RA10055 would still be applicable. So, for example, if you are a USC, a private institution, but you got funding from a government agency like DOST for a particular project, then for that particular project, your GFA would be government, would be GFA. Yes, the GFA there would still be your DOST through you.
Okay.
Yes.
So indirectly, the covered institution will be answerable to the GFA, which is the
Yes,
government.
you are the RDI because you were funded, you were given funds by DOST to do research. So your GFA would be DOST and you the private, the RDI.
Yeah, but we extend the funding to a collaborating institution, and we have an internal agreement among us. Will we be considered also a GFA? Extension of
No,
the GFA?
your source of funding is DOST. So DOST is the GFA because they have appropriations also as SUC, and that is what is being used in the R&D. So that's
a
government
private
funds.
institution.
So that makes the SUC a GFA also. But diba under RA10055, a GFA is a government agency which funds, whereas an RDI may be public or private entity.
Yes, sir.
Just a follow-up clarification. If, for example, or in most cases, the university receives funding from private institution or funding agency, is this R&D covered by the Tech Transfer Act?
No, it is not covered.
Thank you.
It will only be covered.
5. Next, please. R. No revision. S. Which received the request for fairness opinion report. Any comment? Question? Yes, sir.
Dr. Williams from Northern Iloilo Polytechnic State College, essentially. I'd like to need to inquire of this rule definition that is in the office. For example, is it possible that to submit IPs from other regions? Like for example, I'm region 6, I will submit this to region 7.
What is the researcher employed in RDI which perform the R&D activities? So employed as full-time or part-time employee or has a service contract with the RTI to perform the R&D activities. So if that researcher is not an employee, or full-time or part-time, or has no service contract, or he did the R&D separately as a separate engagement, not within the regular duties or not within the regular time of the of a research employee, of a full-time employee or part-time employee, then
Financing.
Five is when kailan po ginawa yung development of the technology? During, tapos whether or not is using the facilities of the university.
No, he has his own facility.
If that is the case, so let's just presume based dun sa facts po na sinabi nyo, then he owns the technology, the university IP. Kung assuming lang sir na ginawa niya yun after office hours and he is not using the facilities of the university.
It's really contentious because the faculty usually he will not say that he's not using university's resources when he did this research, but actually he's using like he uses the library, he uses the computer. But sometimes he does it at home. But if it's part of his duty as a faculty member doing research, it should be owned by the university.
Yun na nga po. It's a matter of
So,
it's a matter of evidence. If you want to prove that the university does not own it, then you have to prove that the technology or the research was done not within your regular duties and not within the regular hours. Yung matter of using
Pero mahirap sa amin yung gawin yun.
so nasa policy yung
Can
po.
it be incorporated in the...
No. Kasi ano rin yun eh, case-to-case basis yun eh, on how the facts will be presented, on how evidence will be submitted to you, to say that this is not part of the university duties or it's a matter of, ano to, maging case-to-case basis to if
Maraming ano dyan, mga away, kaya dyan. Mga faculty na who are not really well aware about IT. And then,
kasi yung extreme dyan, if the employee talaga is on leave of absence, may separate engagement yun grabe yun, na kanya yun. Pero, lalo na kung hindi siya nag-leave of absence, so, the employee performed an R&D. So, you will have to monitor that it's not being done. Una, it's not within his regular duties, and it's not being done during the regular hours.
ngayon he didn't inform us, inform the office that they are doing this. Only when he files for puppet that we know that he's only
So,
doing this.
that's why, as part of monitoring, you have to do documentation. You have to do certain rules for you to be able to determine that. Kasi it is maybe a simple requirement, but it really can be contentious or a serious discussion.
And going back to that spin-out company, if the researcher does not take a leave of absence from the institution and he becomes part of the company, well,
Actually, based on the law, if the researcher is an employee and he wants to become an employee of the spin-off firm in that capacity, an employee, then he should take a leave of absence
is it
from the university. 1 or 2 years maximum. But if you need in his association or connection with the spin-off firm is in the capacity of being a consultant, for example, so he does not work full-time in the spin-off firm, he does not have to take a leave of absence. Only when that researcher becomes an employee of the spin-off firm should that researcher is required to take a leave of
like
absence.
he was the CFO or
Yes,
the CFO?
CFO is the officer at the same time an employee and full-time in the spin-off firm, then he should take a leave of absence from the university.
Literally operated.
That is actually in the law. It's in the law. It's I think it serves as a clarification on what the law says. Because it's already there in the law.
Even it's a private institution.
As to R&D funded by government, yes.
Any more questions? None? Next, please. CC, no revision. VD, ED, no revision. Next, please. FF, item I, no revision. Next. Number 2, number 3, no revision. 4, 5, 6, no revision. GG, HH, no revision. Continuation of HH, no revision. Item 2. II, written recommendation refers to the written recommendation by the DOST Secretary pertaining to the proposed transaction. It may include technical, legal, social, economic, administrative, and other matters depending on his or her application. Any comment?
I believe I would answer your previous question relative to the technical. Although it was not specified, the FOR, it is specified under the written recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sita. Any question? None? Yes, sir?
Good morning. I'm Efren Dinan from Cavite State University. I suppose that this particular definition is in relation to fairness opinion report. And just a point of clarification, why is it that this technical, social, administrative is still included in the report, wherein the fairness opinion report mostly focuses on financial terms, economic conditions, financial stability of the takers, because I'm just apprehensive that this might also hamper the fast tracking of commercialization of the technology. So that's it. I suggest maybe that this only should focus on the content of, because the basis of the recommendation is also the fairness opinion report. So technical, more specifically on technical and social. So definitely technical issues or technical evaluation on the readiness of the technology is within the work of the IB management office of certain university. Also the social aspect, the marketability, acceptability is also supposed to be on the level of the researcher of the office of the IT. So that's it. Point of clarification only why we need to have technical and social aspects.
It may be quite premature, but under Rule 11, which specifies the fairness opinion report details, there are some items here which could be considered as part of the written recommendation of the Secretary. For one instance, under Section 2, there are some exceptions, no? Dun sa mga rules na yan, which may be mentioned siguro under the written recommendation of the secretary, probably there would be better appreciation of this when we come to support it.
Yes.
But definitely, sir, in the fairness opinion report that the FOB will render or will execute, wala pong technical, walang social, financial, social, economic, and other factors. It will only purely focus on the financial terms. So there are two kinds of, as I mentioned a while ago, there are two kinds of report. The first one is the fairness opinion report, and the other is the written recommendation. So it depends upon the secretary if the secretary will include in his written recommendation technical review or economic review or market ability or what the other aspects or factors. But definitely in the fairness opinion report, it will only focus on the financial aspect.
Some more questions? None? Yes, please. Rule 4, items A, B, C, D. No revision. Next, Rule 5, Chapter 2, Intellectual Property Ownership. Rule 5, Ownership of Intellectual Property and Intellectual Property Rights. No revision. Next, please. Yes, sir.
Let me give you an instance where I am the innovator. I am the one. I am the one who have the knowledge. I am the one who developed the technology when I was still a student. But the university applied for an IP. I was still not connected with the university during that time, and likewise asked for support for the improvement, enhancement of the technology. Who will be supposed to be the author of that technology?
For the original technology, then whoever developed it, actually, even for improvements or modifications, whoever created or developed the modification or the improvement owns it. So, during the time that the researcher or the one who developed was still a student, then you will have your own, ASUCs actually, you have your own IP policies. So it will depend on your IP policy. Now, years after not being a student anymore, then the same researcher develops an innovation, develops a modification or improvement. Whoever created that, if he is the one who created or developed it, then he owns it. Yun po. So the improvement or modification is separate from the original technology.
Kung wala pa yung IP policy, hindi pa existing IP policy with the student.
Existing na. Pag the technology is already applied with the IP, only that my name was not included in the IP application.
Kasi then, kung wala pang na-develop na IP, kung ito naman ay hindi government funded especially, then you discuss, it's between you and the university, the student and the university.
So meaning, whoever the authors who apply the IP are the authors considered in the application. Disregarding the original.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Basta separate yun na, and pero ito hindi ito government funded na. Kasi pag government
Actually,
funded na, it's always the RDI which owns it.
The technology was funded from our own pocket.
Ano? So, RA10055 does not apply. If it's not, if the research R&D does not use government funds at all, so it does not apply.
Yes, sir.
I think the question is the ownership, so it's not on the scope of the N10055. So,
Yes.
siguro i-clear lang kay sir kung ano yan.
Una actually, as to ownership, the key there is, if it's not government funded, the R&D does not use any government funds, this does not apply. So the research and the RDI is not deemed the owner, and RA10055 does not apply. In which case, ano yun, IPC, the intellectual property code applies. So whoever creates it, whoever develops it is the owner. Yun po. Nagkataon lang, because of RA10055, whoever, it's the RDI which owns it. This is the RDI, which is the agency whose researchers performed the R&D, which generated the IP. So based on RA10055, it's government funded, whether wholly or partially, it's the RDI which owns it. This is different from the common mindset that it's supposed to be the researchers who own it. So under RA10055, the ownership has been defined. It's owned by the RDI. Basta may hindi component ng government funds. Kung walang government funds, RA10055 does not apply, this IRR does not apply. So you can have your own rules, but the intellectual property code applies. So intellectual property code, the basic rule there is whoever creates it, develops it, owns it.
It's outside.
Thank you, Attorney Raj.
Outside. Outside.
For questions? None. Next, please. 3, no revision. 4 and 5, no revision. Letter B, no revision. Rule 6, copyright ownership, no revision. Next. Entire Rule 6, no revision. Rule 7 and 8, existing laws, recovery of ownership, no revision. Chapter 3, rights and responsibilities of the government funding agencies and research and development institutes or institutions. Rule 9, rights and responsibilities of a government funding agency. No revision. Rule 10, Rights and responsibilities of the RDIs. Letter A, no revision. Letter B, all RDIs may develop and implement their own technology transfer protocol consistent with the provisions of this IRR. Any question? Yes, sir?
Okay, that would be, this is just, comment. If I read the statement, somewhat like it is vague, because there is a main, and there is a consistent. So can we split it into two sentences? So that it could be read as all RDI may develop and implement their own technology transfer protocol, period. However, it shall be made consistent with the provisions. Kasi pag nilagay mo yung may develop, tapos may consistency dun sa dulo, parang may do a protocol, parang may do a protocol na pwede bang consistent o kung hindi. So, parang vague yung pagka-state ng
But just to explain, the main here is a freedom on the part of the RDI to develop yung main. Pwede hindi kayo mag-develop, pwede kayo mag-develop. But once you develop, it should be consistent. Yun yung ano doon. So the main here only pertains to choice to the RDI in the development of their development implementation of the technology transfer protocol. However, once you opted to develop, you need to be consistent with the provisions of this IRR. That's why it was written whole straight statement. However, we note the suggestion of Sir from the Illinois Science State University, so we'll consider that one. Or if it is more clear, if that it could be worded in that way.
Assuming that the university or the RTI developed the protocol, would it be necessary to have it approved by the DOH?
Actually, no, we do not. However, I believe the regions has a project in which you need to present your intellectual property policy. I heard that one.
None of that needed. How would you know that the protocol of the RTI is in accordance, is consistent with the IRR?
Yes, sir. But unfortunately, kasi parang hindi po kami in-house ng mga protocols nyo eh. This is we are just cautioning you that if ever you will develop, you need to be consistent with IRR. Otherwise, if you will not, then you will be subjected to some objections or concerns from your own researchers and other clients, and then therefore you will be confronted with so many problems. Yun lang. But the DOST itself is not actually mandated to clear or approve all your protocols per se.
Ito po yun, ano? The DOST sits in the board
Yes.
ng inyong mga
Oh.
SUCs. And sa board po, ipinipresent yung inyong mga protocols. And pag in-approve po sa board yan, hindi po namin inililista lahat, but we specify there that they should be consistent with existing laws and regulations. Now, it is the responsibility of the university to make sure that these are consistent. Otherwise, anybody within the university may question yung inyong policies pag siya ay hindi consistent. And
local university, private university, whose IP ownership is more generous to the researcher because the ownership is with the researcher, even if it's under employee relationship, and they have the policy. So in this case, it cannot be overruled by the IP code of the Philippines. Because this is
Separate.
If you're, if the school is a private university, then I am assuming that you're referring to projects that do not funds. So in that case, yes, of course, the basic laws of intellectual property will apply. But if you are more generous to your researchers, for example, that is okay because the laws of the intellectual property code give sort of the minimum level of protection to the inventors. But if you want to give a better benefit, then that's it.
administration is also very generous.
Yes, that's just the minimum. In other words, you have to give that. With the IP code, the rights and benefits of the inventors, authors, you have to recognize that and give that. But if you want to go beyond that, that's fine. But just for emphasis, the Technology Transfer Act would not apply because no government fund is involved. That's a purely private initiative.
Thank you. One more question? None? Next, please. C, D, E, no revision. F, no revision. Letter G, report annually to all the GFAs on the progress of IP and or IPR commercialization efforts and of all agreements entered and licenses granted. Any comment? The revision here is all. Yes, sir.
Suppose yung government funding agency, in the conduct of the research, they do it collectively in such a way na isa lang yung nag-represent sa lahat ng GFAs. So therefore, even if isa lang yung nag-represent sa lahat ng GFA, kailangan bang mag-furnish ng copy sa lahat?
When you say isa lang nag-represent, doon sa account, sa memorandum of agreement, isa lang ang nasasabi GFA doon. O lahat sila nasasabi na funding agency. Kasi kung nasasabi sa agreement na lahat sila ay funding agency, lahat sila bibigyan ng ano po ito? Comment po ito or in proposed revision po ito ng aming GFAs. Gusto nila, meron lahat sila merong report.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Some more questions? None? Next, please. H, I, no revision. Letter J, afford their staff with incentives consistent with existing laws to sustain efforts in identifying valuable IP and in pursuing IP commercialization. The RDI should clearly identify the composition of the research team and execute the corresponding research agreement with its researchers and staff. The staff may include researchers, technology licensing officers, and others involved in the identification of valuable IP and pursuing IP commercialization. The technology transfer protocol shall include provisions on the form and manner of granting incentives. Yes, sir?
This is not a comment, but a commendation. for the technical working group because this is actually great for us, the management office of the IT, because in developing our own IT policy and tech transfer manual, it's difficult for us to pursue or to put some provisions there without this. You know. So I commend the technical working group for inserting this.
Thank you, sir. Letter K, no revision. L, the revision is the period from 3 months to 6 months. The confidential disclosure herein shall be made within the period stipulated in the RFA, or in the absence of such stipulation, within 6 months from the confidential disclosure made by the inventor, author, or creator of the IP to the RTI as provided in the Technology Transfer Protocol. Any comment? None? Next, please. M? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Letter K.
Good morning. I am Professor Pastil of Bicol Iron State University. We are still on the process of crafting our transfer protocol. Is it safe that we include this part, but and simply?
Technically, the timeline for the approval of this revised implementing rules is before the end of this year. So we are really, we need to make sure that we will finish the public hearing in Davao, Mindanao. Then after that, this will be forwarded to the management of DOSC for approval. Or kung wala na po silang any other revision, then this will be signed by the Secretary and I fulfill by the end of this year. So if you're crafting a technology transfer protocol, perhaps pinaka-safe po kung gusto nyo isama lahat ng revisions dito next year, January.
Another one is yung others involved, does it include the designated patent agent of the university?
I believe so, they are part of patent management office. Ay, yung staff, yung ISO staff ba yan? Opo.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. M, no revision. N, no revision. So the long of revisions are in Rule 11, the entire Rule 11. Rule 11, Fairness Opinion Report and Written Recommendation by the DOSE Secretary. Section 1, when mandatory. A Fairness Opinion Report and written recommendation by the DOSE Secretary shall be required in the following instances. 1. When the GFA directly negotiates agreements for commercialization of the IPs that it assumes. B. When the public RDI directly negotiates agreements for the commercialization of IPs. And C. In the creation of spin-off firm or company. Any comment? Sir?
for a fact that because of the law, we are required to have the FOR. However, there are cases that the funding has different amounts, like in terms of thousands or in terms of millions. So, um, regardless of the amount, we have to satisfy this, and then that will be channeled from the regional to central office of the UST, right? Or is there a level na regional lang yung pagkuha ng FOR or sa central agad?
Actually, we have not issued the implementing guidelines on the how we will operationalize this provision, this rule. Because before, aside from the implementing rules and regulation of RA10055, we have issued memorandum circular providing the guidelines and the issuance of the fairness opinion report. But on the basis of this one, on the basis of this revision, the concept is that this, when you secure a fairness opinion report, it will be regionalized. That's why the receiving office is in the region, where it is nearer to the parties. Because what is actually costly here is the fact that the licensor and the licensee comes from different locations in the Philippines. So we need, the experts are from the MCR usually, nanggagaling dun sa Manila area. And so parang the experts need to travel, or either the licensor or licensee will need to go to Manila just to have these meetings with the Fairness Opinion Board for purposes of issuing the Fairness Opinion Report. So the concept here is we're trying to make it convenient to the requesting parties this process, and also fast track it in a sense that not everything is centralized. When it is centralized, it becomes longer waiting period or waiting time. So ganun sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for that, because that is also our dilemma before. Since in securing for the FOR, we need to, of course, have the expenses a lot bigger compared to this one, and at the same time, we have to wait for a longer time. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you dun sa minention mo. I believe Director Rowan ay palagi nakakausap kasi ganyan din ang tono niya pag nag-usap kami. And we have discussed that intensively, and in fact we have tried to include it dun sa item 2C dito yung public goods and services. It's an exemption. But dinidiscuss namin yan with respect dun sa classification relative to the funding, to the volume of funding na ma-approve doon. Anyway, we will discuss this more intensively probably with the people.
Also, one of the comment of Sir Delonga, that if is it possible, for example, if the GFA is also the RDI, can the FOR be on the level of the president, wherein there is also a board, something like that, that is also formed from the independent bodies, so that it can also fast track the FOR? Will that be possible?
The thing here is the review is on the proposed transaction, meaning the transaction between the licensor and the licensee. So in your case, you're saying if the university is both the GFA and RDI, then you are considered one party only. You are the licensee. Ay, licensor. How about the licensee, sir? Where will the licensee come? Diba? So yung sinasabi niyo pong internal with him, since you are both GFA and RDI, you are only considered one party. You are for the licensor. How about the one for the licensee? So hindi po pwede na lahat tagaloob sa inyo kasi unfair po yun dun sa kabila.
I just want to raise this issue kasi although I cannot articulate more, it's maybe, sir, you can ask Sir Hilongga on that matter. So with that, I raise my case.
Actually, I appreciate your idea. All of us would want to facilitate things naman. And although I came here na medyo apprehensive about dun sa role na naka-stipulate dito relative to the role of the regional office that we will be the receiving entity, and item 6E of this page also stipulates that the receiving office shall act as the secretariat of the board. I came here with the intention of trying to correct this, but given the situation and the comments that you are saying now, I believe that the role of the regional office of the DOS would be very critical in trying to address your concerns, sir. So I think that would be addressed pagka ito ay na-localize natin. Although I would be strongly requesting TAPI for assistance kasi we don't have enough warm body in the region to do this. Thank you.
One more question? Okay. Section 2. For purposes of obtaining fairness opinion report, the following activities are not considered as commercialization. A. Government extension programs. B. Training services. C. Public goods and services, which shall be defined and determined by the parent agency. And D. Manufacturing for pre-commercialization activities, in which case a limited manufacturing license is issued. Any comment? None? Next, please. Section 3. All requests for fairness opinion report and written recommendation by the DOST Secretary, including the documents received and proceedings to evaluate such requests, shall be held confidential by all concerned parties to the said requests, subject to applicable laws on data privacy and confidentiality. Any comments? None? Next, please. Section 4. Fairness opinion report and written recommendation by the DOST Secretary shall be issued within the period of 60 calendar days from the receipt of the written request. For this purpose, the DOST Secretary may opt to pursue fast-track mechanism to expedite the issuance of the said report and the recommendation. Any comment? None? Next, please. Section 5. Required documents. All requests for fairness opinion report and written recommendation by the DOST Secretary shall include written requests addressed to the DOST Secretary supported by the following documents at the minimum. A. Proposed transaction. B. Financial documents. C. Documents relating to IP protection, if any. And D. Background documents of the parties to the proposed transactions. Any comment? Yes, sir.
clarify what financial document specific, because we are here looking at the capability of the applicant. What financial document would you require from the applicant?
Usually, sir, we require the financial statements. If none, you, bank certification or credit
Certification was
line.
okay, pero I suggest, because financial statement can be done, but with a document certified by other agencies is more authentic. Medyo mabigat yan na ebidensya. Kasi financial statement can be done. Pwede yan, ma-fake yan eh.
But
Yes,
sa mga sir, much
the
better kung
signature
audited
of-
naman po. Audited ng CPA, independent auditor na may Board of Accountancy seal. BOA accredited CPA.
Siguro lang na
Yes, sir.
na sigurado yan may pundo, mas maganda yung bank account.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Noted, sir. Yes, sir.
Inquiry lang po. Of course, we already established this fairness opinion report. And here, you are saying that the FOR and the written recommendation will be issued within a period of 60 days or calendar days. Is there already a time frame specifying the specific process in which kasi kung minsan or for example if we request for an FOR at saka may nagtatanong sa amin especially yung mga researchers or nandun sa yung mga licensees, so hindi naman pwede namin sabihin lagi na fairness process pa ng fairness opinion. So pwede namin sabihin sa anong specific na process ng fairness opinion na yung technology, parang ganun. Meron bang time frame na nakaspecify yung mga processes? Thank you.
Sir, dun sa existing nating IRR, meron kaming inisyu na memorandum circular stating the process with the timeline. So meron na tayong full-blown, meron tayong natawag na fast track. But with this revision, magkakaroon na naman ng panibagong separate MC circular para dito. So if you're asking kung meron na, wala pa sir, kasi we will still have to have this approved. Pero doon sa existing, meron pong fast track mechanism, meron pong full-blown. So meron timeline doon kung ano yung pagdadaanan ng request, if it's a full-blown and when it is fast track. So meron tayo sa fast track na 10 days, meron pang fast track na 1 day lang. Evaluation. So may 60 days na full-blown, may fast track 10 days, may fast track na 1 day. Doon sa existing natin IRR. But for this, we still have to work on the guidelines, on the periods, kasi nag-iba na po yung process natin. Completely different from the previous IRR. And of course, we need to coordinate now with our regional offices, considering critical na po yung magiging functions nila dito. Dito sa pinopropose namin amendment to the implementing rules.
Pwede bang ako naman magtanong sa kanila? Relative dun sa financial kasi, no? May mga contention kasi ako sa Region 3. Meron kaming mga enterprises, business enterprises who are willing to buy the right to manufacture yung technologies that we generate. Now, meron silang negative sa kanila, nahihingan mo sila ng financial statement. Sabi nila, babayaran nga kita ng 1 million para sa right na i-manufacture ko yung product mo. Palagay mo ba, uupuan ko lang yan at papabayaan ko hindi magamit yung 1 million na yun? gusto ko lang i-pick yung mind din ninyo as the technology generator. Anong opinion ninyo? Dapat ba natin sila? Kasi kami naman on the part of the government, we would want to get that, to be assured that those who would buy the right to manufacture these technologies have the capacity to really commercialize it. Pero from the point of view naman nga ng mga business people, sabi nila, ano ko stupid? Babayaran kita pa tapos hindi ko i-manufacture yan. Ano pa opinion niyo? Pwede bang malaman ba?
I think it's very important to require them the financial
Ang
document.
sa atin lang naman masiguro. Kasi may mga tao na picky. May mga tao, if you can notice on the television, may mga tao na masiguro lang natin na hindi rin yung isang tao na interest sa technology, hindi rin mapiki. At yung may-ari ng technology, hindi rin mapiki. Kasi, kuhan yan masakit sa may-ari ng technology na mapipiki siya. Bibigyan niya ng 1 million, piki naman yung cheque. Pwede yan mangyari. Yes. To ensure that, to ensure to secure the knowledge of the developer. Ganun na lang para masiguro natin na talaga secured yung owner ng technology. Siguruhin natin na
Documents, financial.
may kikitain din yung developer ng technology. Sigurado yung pera. Kasi kawawa yung developer. Sigurado may mangyayari nito. Kasi may nangyayari nga sa actual Sa television mismo nakikita nyo na there are people who are doing this business na piki pala talaga. Kailangan to ensure to secure the owner of the intellectual property, siguro natin na may pondo siya sa bangko. At saka, if possible, the DST should be the witness in the transfer of pagbili ng technology. Kasi kayo naman ang may authority doon, dapat talagang kayo maging witness. Kaya sa marketing na yan So dapat talaga, government tayo ang magpapatid sa may-ari ng technology. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Lahat po ba kayo? Yun ang opinion? Yes, sir?
Siguro sa opinion ko, sir, let's put this on this way. Nandun naman sa negotiation process yung pag-determine kung valid or legit yung bumibili ng or buyer ng technology. So except for the licensing na kailangan talagang i-make sure na of course ma-distribute yung product and not to impede ng distribution or sales ng product. Iba naman kasi yung buying. Binabuy mo yung rights. Might be the buying itself, depende kung sino na yung bumili, baka kakompetensya. So that's why that is also part ng FOR kung kompetensya sa part ba yun ng FOR kung yung magla-licensing or magkukuha ng technology is also a competitor of your technology? Is that part of the FOR or not?
May IP na, bibili ng IP. Yung problema doon, yung pagbili ng IP, baka mapili yung
Makatulong yun. Actually naman po, pagka ganito kasi lalo na sa mga aming mga technology transfer day activities, legit po lahat yung mga nandyan. But the point na nag-mention is relative to the unfair competition. I think that's something we should consider. Thank you.
Kasi may napipili talaga eh. I don't know kung makapili siya sa gobyerno. Siguro naman dahil ang DSD kasama doon sa di ba may sharing doon sa siguro kayo naman ay nandyan pwede ma-investigate yan pero masiguro na ang IP owner ay hindi rin ma-disgrasya kasi kawawa naman. We are there to protect them. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We now proceed to section 6. Section 6, fairness opinion. Yes.
Can I say something? I cannot just let go of this. Kasi if a licensee is really serious into buying the license and then producing and then bringing it to the market, why would it be difficult to the company to submit an audited financial statement? You submit it anyway to BIR, you submit it to SEC, and that's a very basic document for us or for the Fairness Opinion Board to at least look at the capability and not only to buy the license but to sustain and sabi nga, hindi lang to buy and then stagnate and for the capability of the licensee to really bring it to the market. Yun po yun. Diba? Napakasimple lang po yun. So bakit may questions like that? Or bakit kailangan ayaw nitong bigay? Exosimple nga na ganon. So how can you later on monitor and then appraise the performance? Kasi long-term din yung relationship na yan eh. Hindi lang yung pag bumili sila ng lisensya, we let go. Because we are not selling the technology. We are just permitting that licensee to use for a certain period of time. So kung dyan pa lang sa umpisa, medyo mahirap. Mahirap, bakit hindi sila very makasabit? It's so basic.
Hindi kasi ganito ma'am, kung bibilihin sa iyo yung right, bibili sa iyo yung right, yung technology owner, wala nang pakialam.
Hindi po. License lang po yun.
Ay,
Hindi yung binibenta.
Hindi yung right. Yung right,
Just the right to
intellectual.
use, just the right to manufacture. Pero nasa technology owner pa rin yun. Yung technology, ownership ng technology itself. Naglilisensya lang siya. Sabi niya, ikaw, company, gusto mo ba i-produce ito dyan sa Visayas? Sige, ikaw dyan. O sige, may right ka, bibigyan kita ng TLA license. Pero
Pagkakalam ko, pag binili na sa iyo, wala ka nang pakialam.
Hindi po. Mayroon pong dalawang ways of transferring the technology. One is you can do outright sale. If in the determination of the RDI, who is the technology owner and the technology generator, it is the one which determines whether it does outright sale or not. The other one is direct licensing. You just license. Yung pag-license is you just permit the licensee to use the technology, maybe for a certain period of time. In using, you manufacture, you produce, you distribute, you sell. Yun lang po yun. In which case, the technology owner still has the right to actually appraise the performance to make sure that the quality of the product it produces remains. So, hindi po nawawala yung relationship just because nagkaroon ka ng TLA.
But the USD can do something about the valuation as far as the one who wants to the licensing. Do you do that the licensing or who wants to avail of the license to commercialize the technology?
So the concern is on the valuation now of the technology.
Kasi sabi ni sir, buying. So we try to identify kung ano yung ibig sabihin ni sir na buying. Is it the licensing itself or the outright sale. So, pag outright sale, binili, so more likely, magkakaroon ng valuation. Para at least determine kung fair yung...
Kahit anong mode, whether it's licensing or outright sale, it should have a valuation. You should, because your royalty, kung licensing yan, will depend on how you value your technology. So, ganun din naman kung outright sale, yun nga lang, pag outright sale, one time, big time yon.
Yes.
Parang ganun, bibilin, bayaran agad. Pero pag in licensing, over a period of time, depending dun sa number of units na ma-manufacture ng licensee. Parang ganun lang yun, staggered basis pag licensing.
So kahit na outright sale, kailangan mo bang hingan ng financial statement yung yung licensee? Or not licensee, but the company that will be buying the technology by outright sale?
I think when you say kung kailangan panghingi ng financial statement, kung may mapoproduce na ba siyang check, I don't think you need to ask for the financial statement anymore.
Yes.
Diba? Kung ito na
That's
yung
right.
check ko, I will sign the check, this is how much you want me to buy your technology. No need to secure the financial statement, definitely.
And I think that's the answer to the question of sir.
Next, tatalbog ko yung check. Background investigation, kasi baka kasi tumalbog din naman yung check.
Going to the business day and then paano?
In this case, the term buy is not appropriate, or if what they want is only the license. It's not buying, it's just licensing.
It's not buying.
Yeah. So for outright selling
Purchase, outright sale.
by the owner or the licensor, all the rights associated with it will be transferred to the
Transfer, yes
buyer,
po,
di ba?
yes.
Like a patent being
Opo.
bought. What if the buyer is a troll? Like
That's
preventing you from
Ano po
doing
yung-
the same kind of activity.
Due diligence po dapat on the part of the technology owner in transacting with this kind of personality.
What if we face handsome amount?
Pero anyway, regardless, kasi strategy po talaga ng mga big firms, example, na mamili lang talaga just to prevent you from, because you're a competitor, that's their business strategy. Business strategy nila. So, ang babalik po tayo dun sa tanong, what is the objective of the R&D? To earn money or to really have it used by the public? Ano po ba? Kasi pwede naman po yung i-public good na lang yan. Hindi ba? So, pagpipigay natin para marami makagamit. So, depende po talaga sa objective ng R&D nyo. Kung you really just want, kung want to commercialize because you want to get, to earn from the technology, or, kasi kung gano'n yung direction, hindi pwede nyo lang ibenta nga, hindi na kayo magmo-monitor and all. Pera na po yun agad for another bout of R&D. Pero kung ang purpose talaga is to help improve the lives of the Filipino utilization, so another iba pong aspect po yun.
Actually, kami na nasa government, lahat na ginagawa, libre. Although may suporta galing sa inyo. Pero, what I'm saying is that those developer from, yung mga, what do you call those, mga private developer, na dapat maprotektahan din sila. Dapat nasa kuan may protection din sila na yung IPR nila na may panahon din na mapipili yun eh. Yun ang gusto kong ipaglaban na mabigyan man lang natin sila ng protection, although they already have their IPR. Pero pwede pa rin yan makuha ng, that can be, pwede yan makuha ng ibang tao na paraan na pipigihin yung cheque. I just want to, maging lang na tayo, pwede yan.
Manager's check na lang po para cash agad. Pero sir, the FOB process po kasi actually helps validate and determines capability of the licensee also. Kaya nga, whether it is fair to the government palagi ang determination ng board. Para ma-sure na although meron na kayong sariling evaluation na ginawa, may due diligence na kayong ginawa in determining the capability of your licensing, pag dumaan po sa board, another screening process pa rin po yun. So yun yung parang pinaka-safety net pa rin po ninyo na talagang ito dalawa na ang tumingin, kami at saka independent body na sinasabi na fair itong transaction. So there's no way na magkakaroon ng ganyang instances kung dumaan na sa FOB. Okay?
Pwede ba ang last statement? Gusto ko lang po napakaganda po nung ating sinasabi na yung research ay ikakapara sa bayan. Nung nag-attend po ako ng APEC Summit sa Peru nung June, kausap ko po yung mga APEC countries at ang sabi, pare-pares po sila nang sinabi ganyan. Alam nyo, nagulat sila nung sinabi ko sa kanila. Sa amin sa Pilipinas, yes, gusto namin yan at a specific level. Yung meron tayo yung mga research for public goods, for public welfare. Pero gusto rin po natin na ang ating mga researcher, magkapera naman. Kaya po tayo meron itong ginagawa po natin itong ating activity ngayon. Gumagawa po tayo ng guideline para po umasenso rin po yung ating mga researcher and make money out of research. Yan po ay isang sinasabi po ng ating USEC guest na sabi nga niya, we should make full use of the intellectual property that we generate. That's why we must protect it, and that's why we must come up with policies and guidelines to protect the researchers also. So, pagtulong-tulungan po natin pagandahin itong ginagawa natin ngayon para po yumaman din naman yung mga researcher. Natutuwa po ako, sa region ko marami ng researcher doon, ang mga milyonaryo. Marami nang nag-design sa mga RDI to put up their own spin-offs at mga successful po sila. Sana po dito rin sa region ninyo marami rin tayong makita. Meron na po, lumipat na po sa Nueva Ecija yung isa. Yung nag-develop ng stove dito, si Engineer Belonio. I believe he came from CPU. He's now one rich guy and may spin-off na siya doon. Marami rin doon and sana mas marami pang mga katulad niya. With the help po nitong ginagawa natin.
Hopefully maraming suporta ang UST.
Okay. We now proceed to Section 6, the Fairness Opinion Board. The Fairness Opinion Report shall be issued by the Fairness Opinion Board, which shall be convened in the following manner. A. Within 30 calendar days upon receipt of the written request from the receiving office, the DOST shall constitute the board from the list of recommendees submitted by the requesting parties, provided, however, that other experts outside of the list may be appointed. Any comment?
Meeting by the requesting party. So, hindi kaya should the term submitted by the requesting party, hindi kaya tayo magkaroon ng doon sa conflict of interest. We must think twice about this statement. Kasi when it would be the requesting party who will submit the evaluators. Hindi natin alam na kakunag pala niya. Yan.
That's my po, sir. It is the DOST Secretary which is mandated by the law to select the board members. And the DOST Secretary is not bound to select from the recommendees. DOST Secretary may select from the list out from other experts outside of the list. So una po yun. Next, meron po yun nga, yung mga documentation ng statement of no conflict of interest, yung mga gano'n. The Fairness Opinion Board or the FOB Secretariat looks into that also.
Okay, thank you.
Some more questions? Comments? None? Next, please. selecting the members of the board, the person's neutrality, impartiality, and expertise shall at all times be given due regard. The expert shall execute a statement of no conflict of interest and non-disclosure agreement pertaining to the written request. Letter C. The Fairness Opinion Board shall review the written request and all supporting documents, and it may obtain and consider other independent information. At its discretion, the board may request for ocular inspection and/or presence of the representatives of the GFA and/or RDI as resource persons. Any comment? None? Okay, letter D. The Fairness Opinion Board shall complete and submit its Fairness Opinion Report to the requesting parties, copy furnished the DOST Secretary, not later than 60 calendar days from the receipt of the written request. Letter E. The receiving office shall act as the Secretariat to the Board. F. All costs and expenses of the board and its secretariat shall be shouldered by the GFA and the RTI in the proportion as determined in the RFA. In the absence of such provision, the costs and expenses shall be shouldered by the requesting party. Any comment? Yes, sir.
There is a section number 4, says that the Fairness Opinion Report and written recommendation by the WSP Secretary shall be issued within period of 60 or calendar days. Here, letter D, in section 6, will it be a conflict to section 4? Because in letter D, the Fairness Opinion Board shall complete and submit its Fairness Opinion Report to the requesting parties, copy furnished to the Secretary, not later than 60 calendar days also. So, question, is the DOST Secretary right away can do the recommendation in the same day so that he or she can deliver or can issue the fairness opinion report or the written recommendations?
Actually, the Secretary's written recommendation is separate and distinct from that of the Fairness Opinion Board. So it can, actually, the preparation of these two reports can go simultaneously. But it does not prevent the Secretary also to wait for the issuance of the Fairness Opinion Report before he makes his written recommendation. Kasi nga magkaiba naman po yung laman ng kanilang report. The FOB's report is focused on the financial terms. The written recommendation of the Secretary may include technical, the other factors, technical, social, environmental, or may just include just a simple statement saying that he fully support the commercialization of that particular technology with that particular adapter. Parang ganun lang, sir. So, hindi siya, the Secretary the written recommendation of the Secretary is not limited to the opinion of the board. The board may say it's not fair, but the Secretary may say it is. Now, it is on the part of the requesting party to determine. Anyway, the risk is with the requesting party. Hindi po clearinghouse ngayon ang DOST. Before po kasi ganito, in our current IRR, ang nangyayari, from the Fairness Opinion Board recommending whether or not the transaction is fair, the Secretary will approve. If the Secretary does not approve, he will revert it back, forward it back to the FOB for another bound of review. So, doon po nagtatagal. Kasi parang nangyayari, the DOST is the clearing house. So, walang lalabas na hindi approve ni Secretary. But for this revision, and also consistent with the provision of the law, the independent board, the independent FOB, will provide its own report without any interference from the office of the Secretary. Kasi independent sila. So, walang for approval ng Secretary yung report ng FOB. Similarly, the Secretary will have its own say.
Meaning to say, the Secretary will not be reading the results or will not be considering the results made by the
He may. So, depende kung gaano kakilala ni Secretary yung transaction, yung technology, at saka yung licensing.
Suppose there are two different opinions. The first is the opinion of the FOB and the second is the opinion of the Secretary. They are opposing in opinions. So who will suffice?
It is on the part of the licensor to determine who to follow. Who to follow. Because ganito po kasi yan. Para kasi po ang nangyayari, sinasabi ninyo na we cannot sign the FOB becomes a hindrance in the commercialization because unless the FOB approves or the Secretary issues an FOR, we cannot sign the licensing agreement. That is not the correct thinking. Because actually, what you will submit to the FOB for review is already a signed, supposedly signed licensing agreement or a signed term sheet. Kasi dapat may meeting of the minds na po. Hindi po pwedeng wala pang meeting of the minds, pinasa-subject nila sa review yung mga terms. Okay? So, ultimately, the one who will bear the responsibility on the agreement that they sign is the parties, or are the parties. So, it is the licensor and the licensee, not the board, not the secretary. Because they are just merely expressing their opinion on the transaction. So yung reports are mere opinions, expression of opinions. It does not bind supposedly the requesting party. Parang ano lang siya, sir, what do you call this? Parang opinion recommendation and opinion. So it it depends upon the requesting party dun sa pag-weigh niya nung findings or ng opinion or ng recommendation on the part of the Secretary and of the board. Naintindihan po ba?
Naintindihan namin, pero parang kasi sayang ang effort ng tuning. Actually, if the opinion of the board would not be considered, supposedly that should be the basis of approval. Pero if it happens na kung baliwala yan, o babasahin ng sekretary pagkatapos hindi gusto niya, siya na lang mag-approve, hindi gusto kong project, pero to the opinion of the board, hindi. Pero gusto ng sekretary, paano yan?
Yun nga po, bahala na po yung presidente nyo sa university to determine. Kasi po, yung responsibility in the signing of the agreement, of the licensing agreement, is not with the Secretary of DOS, it's not with the FOB, it's with your president, the one who signs the agreement. Ang makukuha po dito, hindi si Secretary, hindi rin po si FOB. Ang makukuha po dyan ay yung party to the transaction, and that is your president, if ever, the university itself. So ang purpose po ng FOB and the written recommendation from the Secretary are mere basis lang po in the decision making nung owner of the technology, whether to go or not to go.
Ano ba ang gusto niyo sabihin na may makukuha yung pera? Hindi.
Dahil sa commission on audit po, sa commission
Hindi,
on
ang gusto ko maging malinaw sa amin, kung gagawa lang naman yung Fairness Opinion Board ng report, anong gamit na hindi bibigyan din ng secretary?
well, ang sinasabi po natin dito, the secretary may consider, hindi po siya absolute. Because even as of today, when we have this current IRR, it also happens that the secretary has a different view of the transaction than the third party, independent party. May ibang view ang possible ng office of the secretary dun sa independent board. Naturally, because the secretary knows more about the technology that it funded than the independent board, who are actually parties who are not in any way have any knowledge about the technology, not even the proposed licensee. So, talagang kung minsan, nagkakaroon po sila ng different views. Sige, sir.
Given these ideas, does it mean that after receiving the comments in the form of the FOR report and the written recommendation by the dearest secretary, it still boils down to the decision of the university president to either to go on or not with the transaction?
Yes. Yes. Now, if you will follow the recommendation of the FOB and there will be COA findings, then you can use it as a basis. If you will not follow the recommendation of the FOB or of the secretary and there's a COA basis, then it is your own justification why you did not. So parang ganun lang po yun. Yes, sir.
Ang understanding ko kanina is, when you request for a fair opinion report, you already have an agreement with your licensee.
Yes,
But you have not signed the agreement yet. So it's still dependent on the opinion.
Actually, sir, you already signed the agreement, but if there is in that opinion saying na merong problema dun sa pinirma nyo, you can still renegotiate.
Pwede ba yan? Well, will it not be hard for us to...
Kaya nga po, ang advice namin, instead of the licensing agreement, term sheet. Kasi anyway, financial terms lang naman po ang tinitingnan. At tinitingnan ng FOB, yung financial terms. So at least those term sheet, focusing on the financial term, yun lang ipasubmit for evaluation sa FOB. And then, kung sabihin ng FOB, your royalty rate is less than the minimum prescribed by industry standards, you need to renegotiate with your licensee na kailangan namin taasan ito to 1% because we are below minimum standard. Kung may ganong findings yung FOB.
Wala pa lang sa ibang institution, if the one who signs the contract, the president, kung minsan hindi ang president mag-sign.
Sino po, sir?
Siguro yung tech transfer,
Ang licensing agreement, sir, ang tech transfer officers. Basta kung sino po yung may authority to sign agreements. Pero usually po pag SUCs, mga presidents po ang nakasign. Hindi po mga tech transfer officers. It's the university president who signs agreements. Yes, sir.
Actually, I just wonder why is it that way? Because we are trying to have a full force of the law. So since we are doing this fairness opinion report, why not make it as a, I don't know, either that could be the basis, the president, the secretary. Why it might give us confusion. For actually, now we are being required to have that fairness opinion board.
You need to undergo the process, but you don't need to follow the recommendation. Parang you need to undergo the process. Ganun po I just want to explain, kasi mahaba pong deliberation ng TWG to, no? The law actually states na you need to obtain a fairness opinion report. Wala pong sinabi doon sa law that that fairness opinion report has to be approved by the secretary. Nailagay po yan doon sa aming policy, sa aming DOST IP policy, where the secretary is given a veto power to approve and deny the independent third party's opinion on a particular transaction. So there lies the problem in the implementation, where in a sense na iba ang view ni secretary doon sa independent third party. Ang nangyayari, ibinabalik yung opinion ng third party sa third party independent para i-evaluate ulit, para mabago ulit. And there lies yung influencing na the third party independent opinion. And supposedly independent party sila. They should not be in any way be influenced in making their opinion. Kasi supposedly they are not biased, they are not interested in the technology, they have no conflict of interest. Sila yung third independent body expressing an opinion on a particular transaction. So, in the deliberation of the TWG, we try to correct this current system wherein the secretary approves the recommendation of, parang nangyayari, the third party independent board is just recommendatory, where in fact, the law says you secure a fairness opinion report from independent third party. You do not secure a fairness opinion report from the secretary. What you secure from the secretary, according to the law, is a written recommendation. So therefore, in that sense, the third party opinion is their opinion, not influenced by any other party. The written recommendation that is coming from the secretary, because he has some knowledge about the definitely, siya ang secretary po nando, siya ang pondo, siya po yung DOST head. So meron po siyang alam about the technology. Hindi na nga siya makukonsider na independent, no conflict of interest whatsoever, because definitely he has interest on the technology. Magkaiba yung kanilang objective with the independent. So in that case, there is a written recommendation coming from the secretary as to his views as regards the proposed transaction. So these two reports, you will have to secure just to serve as your basis in deciding whether you will go for this transaction or not. Just a basis. But it will not compel you to make compel you to agree with their opinion or recommendation. Yun po yung ano dyan, yun po yung essence ng ating amendments in the law, in the IRR rather. So, tama yung sinabi ni Sir kanina, from the private side, we own the IP. Why should we ask somebody else to command us how to transact with a private or with our potential licensee? Because we are the owner. We should have a leeway. Based on the IP code, the owner can do whatever he wants in the technology. Nga lang po, pag publicly funded yung technology na yan, may public funds involved, dadaan po tayo sa Commission on Audit Review. And since we did not follow the procurement process in selecting our licensee, yung other process na pinaklo natin, yung FOB process. Mamimili po kasi kayo, sir. If you do not want to go to the process of securing FOB or FOR, then you go to the procurement process. Highest bidder po kayo. Yes, sir.
Given the opinions from the FOB and as well as from the UST, and that will be given to the, of course, the requesting party, and for the soup that will be the university president. And suppose the opinions are different from opposing to the licensee. Suppose parang hindi siya favorable sa licensee, and yet the university president still decide to push through the commercialization or the licensing. Will that be a ground for AUM from the Commission on Audit, not following the opinions?
Definitely, it's an audit observation. Audit observation lang po yan. But, in all audit observation can always be justified by the end user. Kaya pwede nyo po ma-justify kung bakit hindi nyo po pinalo yung recommendation or yung opinion. Kasi posible po na hindi na-cover ng FOB or perhaps ng written recommendation ng secretary yung point ninyo. O yung reason or justification nyo why do you want to pursue with the commercialization with that particular licensee.
Nasabi ko lang kasi allergic yung president namin sa area.
Sabihin, either mag-follow po siya doon sa FOR or doon sa written recommendation. At least, in any way, meron siya basis. In any way, pwede po kasi yung recommendation ni Secretary positive, yung recommendation ng board negative. Okay? Kasi ang tinitingnan lang po ng board financial. Ang tinitingnan ni Secretary is more than the financial, meaning the socio-economic impact of transferring this technology to the other parties. Doon nagkakaroon ng salungat na opinion kasi yung dalawa. So you weigh. Ano po bang mahalaga? Di ba yung sinabi ko na kanina? Money po ba? Commercialization po ba? Or just to help improve the lives of the Filipino? Kasi perhaps doon sa Secretary's written recommendation, doon makikita na while the licensee only pays you 100,000, but the future economic impact of transferring this technology to this licensee will go beyond this number, then you might as well go with the Secretary's recommendation. Kasi definitely yung FOB recommendation, masyado po silang strict lang doon sa financial terms. Sasabihin nila ay your royalty is less than the minimum standards. So you have to increase the royalty. Hindi na papayag for renegotiation yung licensing nyo. In this manner, meron po kayong leeway kung sino susundin. Actually, and at least basta kung may sinunod kayo, yun lang. Unless kung wala kayo sinunod sa pareho, kayo na po, be ready with your own justification. Ganun po yun.
Basta sa amin libre.
Kasi meron po yung tinitingnan na walang royalty hiningi. Ang hiningi lang upfront fee. Example po, 50,000 lang hiningi upfront. Wala nang royalty. And the license is for 5 years. So sasabihin ng board, that is unfair to the government. Kasi tinignan lang niya is the financial terms. Posible to sa report ng secretary sabihin, but it will generate how many employment? It will generate employment, it will help increase poverty, whatever, alleviation. So that's another aspect na hindi po nakita ng board. Kasi limited nga lang po yung review ng board to financial. So at least sabihin nyo na kayo sa COA, well, we opted to follow the recommendations of the secretary because this is the main objective of the research. Or, pinalo yung FOB because you want to incentivize the researchers. Either way, you are safe. Kung meron kayong pinalo. Na-clarify na po ba yung process?
Hindi ba sa yung sa gobyerno, walang ibibinta, libre. Nag-clarify ko lang naman yung private eh.
Sir, pag ganyan nga kasi po yung reason nyo, wala kayong ibinibenta libre. Actually, yung FOB, sasabihin not fair to the government eh. Sasabihin, bakit linibre nyo yan? Sasabihin, dapat nangingi ka dyan ng 1% royalty. Sasabihin po yun ng FOB. Based on our experience po sir as secretariat, hindi po nila nakita yun na nga po, yung other aspect na may pagka-public good dyan just to improve the lives.
Meron po actual case din. Kasi it's a government-funded project na kung ma-accomplish namin yung project na to, it will also benefit the end users who are farmers or, yeah. So in that case, the technology is protected with an IP, like a patent. And then, meron tong licensee, who is a government entity, we don't get any royalty, we don't get any licensing fee. So it's libre yan. Kasi ano sila, government. Pwede ba yan? Wala kaming makikita dyan, wala kaming... But if it's a private company who is interested in our technology, we license it, but do commercialization sa technology namin, then we get a licensing fee as well as royalty.
So pwede naman po yun, depende po yan sa LG o sa strategy niyo po.
Yung EOB will not say that it's unfair to the government.
Usually po pag government to government na transaction, hindi po siya magsasabi ng unfair. Kasi both are government. Parang pong gobyerno ang nag-uusap. Parang agency to agency po, negotiated procurement. Ganun lang po yun. Mas mabilis po tayo sa procurement process. Pag agency to government agency nagtatransact. Pero kung government agency to private entity, doon po medyo mahaba pong proseso ng procurement. Similarly sa FOB po, pag government to government po ang licensee, licensor, wala pong FOB process na pong ginagawa dyan. Hindi na po meticulous.
Pag non-exclusive license siya, may government na interested, may private entity na interested.
Both.
So,
Pero sir, bakit although kahit na siya may resolution approving the act, pero ano yun, siya ang magpo-produce? Siya ang may capacity na
Yung
may
RDI.
plant? Yung licensing na LG.
hindi, government entity, hindi siya, sorry, entity. It's a government, like BFAR, for example, na developing a technology for culture.
So may proprietary
May proprietary to the RDI.
mandated.
Yeah, but it's a government-funded project we are doing. So the product of the technology that we produce is given to the end user who are stakeholders of the government. So we promise them that we give this technology free to you because you are in the beneficiary or our marginalized sector.
That's why po, we recommend po dun sa mga ganyan pong klase na wag na po mag-execute ng licensing agreement. Memorandum of agreement na lang po. Kasi wala naman po yung financial na pinag-uusapan niya sa license na yan eh.
Case to case lang siguro. Private entity.
Kung private, licensing agreement kayo. Pero kung government ang kausap, mag-MOA na lang po tayo. Opo.
Para kayong nag-exchange ka of interest. Parang gano'n, resources. Parang may gano'n lang. Hindi siya commercial transaction. Kasi ang commercial transaction is sinasabi sa FOR. So kung makikita na hindi siya commercial transaction, it's such a way na wala rin naman mga payment o license fees, royalties. Parang talaga exchange na of resources and then for common interest, for common goals. Parang mo.
Yeah, because the reason of protecting it, because it could be also used in other countries. The same technology that we are producing. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have more questions? None? Then we shall proceed. Section 7. Criteria for fairness. The Fairness Opinion Board may render its fairness opinion based on the fairness to the GFA of the proposed transaction, particularly its financial terms. The board may also be guided, whenever applicable, by the following criteria. A. Financial capability of the licensee and its ability to sustain the supply. B. Competitive position of the licensee. C. Marketability of the product or service that shall be produced from the subject technology. And D. Such other criteria as may be determined by the board. Any comment?
Yes, sir.
Section 7, um, the such other criteria as may be determined by the board, it's bounded by the financial terms.
Yes, yes. It is confined with the financial terms only.
Okay. Any more questions? None? Okay, section 8, contents of the Fairness Opinion Report. The report shall include, but not be limited to, a review and analysis of the proposed transaction, financial statements, industry information, economic conditions and assumptions used therein, and a comparison of similar transactions. Section 9, the DOST Secretary shall issue a written recommendation for the proposed transaction in the following manner. Letter A. Upon receipt of the written request from the receiving office, the DOST Secretary shall forward the same to his or her duly authorized representative through a special order for review and her consideration. Any comment? Next. B. The written recommendation may cover areas such as technical and legal aspects of the written request. It may also consider areas that may not be covered by the Fairness Opinion Board. And C. The DOST Secretary, at his discretion, may use the Fairness Opinion Report as basis for the written recommendation.
May.
No comments? Section 10. Consolidation. Yes, sir.
Pwede bang lagyan din ng may not? May or may not?
May or may not.
Noted, sir. Section 10. Consolidation of reports. The Technology Application and Promotion Institute shall serve as the depository institution of all issued Fairness Opinion reports by the Fairness Opinion Board and written recommendation by the DOST Secretary. It shall keep an active registry of all forwarded documents for whatever purpose that the DOST Secretary may deem appropriate. Yes, sir?
Yung sinasabi bang tape dito is tape sa regional level or sa... So, sino yung mag-forward ng paan sa regional? May flow ba dito na...
Supposedly, once yung FOR, FOB reports is regionalized, di ba ba? Kanina sinabi ko. Written recommendation from the Secretary is central, galing kay Secretary po yun. So the reports will be forwarded, all of which will be forwarded to the central agency called TAPI, who will consolidate all these reports coming from all regions. Because there might come a time that the Secretary will have a need for this information. Hindi niya na kailangan pumunta sa bawat region just to get the information. It will all be centralized to one agency, that is TAPI. Yes, sir. Actually, the confidentiality as agreed by the TWG during our deliberation is while pending evaluation. However, once a recommendation has already been issued by the FOB and the written recommendation has already been issued by the Secretary, this will now become public documents for transparency.
Just a review lang. Yung requesting party magsasubmit ng request sa regional office. and it will be, of course, through the central office, the DST, and so on with the TAPI, and the processes go on. After that, we already have, the TAPI already have or who will have the report of the Fairness Opinion Board and the written recommendation of the DST.
The requesting party will get their
Sino
reports.
yung kukuha direkta sa regional or sa national? Saan niya kukunin?
Ni requesting party?
Yes.
Hindi po niya kukunin. Ibibigay po sa kanya. Ipapadala po sa inyo.
Sino yung magpapadala?
Regional office na po yun.
Okay. So, kumbaga, with the FOR and the written communication, babalik sa process, sa line, and then yung regional office yung magbibigay.
Because the regional office will be the secretariat to the board. So, nasa kanila po talaga yung report.
Okay. Just to be clear.
Yes, oo. So, yun po. Except for the written recommendation na magagaling sa central office ni DOST, ikakascade to the region. Yung FOR, FOB, nandun na talaga sa region. Kasi nandun na yung board natin sa region. Wala na sa central office.
Some more questions? None? Entire Rule 12, Common Provisions, no revision. Chapter 4, Management of IPs from R&D performed by government RTIs through their own budget. Rule 12 and Rule 14, no revisions. Chapter 5, Revenue Sharing. Rule 15, no revision. Yes, sir.
I sorry, I forgot pala na regionalization na talaga na pala yung set up. So, anyway, the regional office of the DST will do kumbaga yung formation ng FOB to create the FOR. However, the written recommendation will still be coming from the DST secretary. Pero for consolidation, all the FOR and the written communication of the DST secretary will be forwarded also as a copy to the topic. Parang ganun.
Chapter 6, Commercialization by the researcher and establishment of spin-off firms. Rule 16. Yes, sir.
I've been reading Rule 16, and basically this is concerns about ethical issues. Because if the president will allow the researcher to be a part of the spin-off firm, that one he will be receiving another salary. In other words, he will be receiving double salary. So my suggestion here is it should be optional or supposedly ganito sana. May na lang. Hindi kasi kung sinabi shall, may or may not. Kasi subject ito sa quality economically standard ng artificial service.
Actually, sir, your concern, that's why we did not make any revision here because it's really in the law, word for word. Na, by law po ito, hindi po namin magalaw kasi nga nasa batas po yan, word for word. But as regards your concern, wala pong double compensation dito. Once the university allows the researcher to spin off. Kasi the researcher need to take a leave of absence and that is without pay.
Fully without pay.
Hindi po, talaga required po talaga na without pay and mag-leave. Unless po ang kanyang participation in the spin-off firm is just a consultant. Kasi kung consultant, ang requirement naman po is limited authority to practice. Kasi as a consultant, you don't need to be rendering full-time service to the spin-off. So, pwede lang po siya mag-request ng limited authority to practice his profession as a consultant to the spin-off firm. Pero kung magiging officer siya, incorporator siya, board of directors siya, ng spin-off firm, he needs to take a leave of absence for a maximum of 2 years. That is without pay, sir. So there will be no double compensation here. So mamimili si researcher. Wala akong sweldo ng 2 taon, struggling yung aking spin-off. Pero at least, struggling, pero may brighter future dahil natututukan niya, being the one who develops the technology. Then after 2 years, balik siya sa university, he leaves now the spin-off, he leaves the spin-off firm with capable hands na kasi nagawa niya na yung part niya na itayo ang spin-off firm and then he can just see royalty out of it, di ba? Yes, sir.
Well, in addition, the researcher employers take leave of absence if he serves in the capacity as employee or officer employee ng spin-off firm. So kung incorporator lang siya, stockholder, consultant, hindi siya kailangan mag-take a leave of absence.
In that case, kung you will become an employee of the spin-off company, it will be a big risk on his part because the company may not earn anything yet
Yes.
within the 2 years of being involved in that company.
Yes, nasa discretion po niya yun.
So kung kailangan na wala siyang, he has to take a leave of absence without pay, paano yan mabubuhay yung
Well,
researcher na
nasa
yan?
decision ng researcher employee po.
Will that be at the discretion of the institution
Hindi
to
po.
pay
Kasi
him while he is on leave?
basta government funded, applicable yung RA10055, yun ang provisions on spin-off firm ng participation ng researcher employees.
Pero kung yung salary niya is coming from the university, why is it prevented by pay?
Private, I think there will be
Pag private, ang university, you can allow your researchers to spin off at the same time, just allow them to receive salary without leave of absence. Kasi,
Because usually the spin-off company is not yet,
sir?
in the start, the spin-off company may not be earning yet.
Yes, sir. That is correct. So if it's a private university, I think may mas leeway. Kasi yung spin-off firm, pwede naman siyang mag-commercialize not only one technology that is funded by, pwede rin siyang, aside from that, meron pang ibang technology na pwede niya commercialize that funded by university, the private university. In that case, pwede siya.
Pero how can it encourage in the case of government, state university, in the case of state university, how can it encourage faculty to be part of the spin-off company? Kung wala siyang salary, wala tanggap na hindi pa nag-earn yung company. Diba malaking ano din yan? Parang barrier.
Pwede, marami po kasi yung capacity para maging part ng spin-off company sa researcher. So decision po niya, kung gusto niya, siya yung tututok. Pwede naman po kasi siya as stockholder lang, hindi siya mag-take ng leave of absence.
Kung siya ang inventor, halimbawa.
Opo. So pwede po kasi as inventor pero consultant, hindi niya po kailangan ng 100% full-time dun sa spin-off company. So it still depends on the researcher. Kung gusto niya ng full-time tutok doon sa company, he has to sacrifice his salary. But pwede rin naman po na yung kanyang technical capability yung ibibigay niya sa company as a consultant, not as an employee full-time. Or pwede rin naman po as stockholder lang. So hindi niya kailangan mag-take ng leave of absence. So depende po sa passion ng researcher, ano yung kanyang talagang mode of i-request naman po kasi niya sa university. Siya magsasabi kung anong klaseng ano yung magiging standing niya doon sa spin-off na pinapropose.
Usually, yung inventor talaga gusto niya, siya gusto tutok sa ano niya, yung baby niya.
And usually, not all inventors has the commercial capability to do so. Doon po yung nag-struggling dyan kasi po gusto niya siya yung magko-commercialize but wala din siya yung
Technical.
entrepreneurial capability to do so. So, the university has to decide. Anyway, this is university's IP, not the researcher's IP.
Yeah, I agree, ma'am. Kasi if the technology is created along with the duty and responsibility of the faculty with the university, then the technology is owned by the university, and the faculty has no right to do the spin-off. Although he can opt to have the spin-off, but of course, with respect to having the leave of absence. Kasi pag nag-spin-off siya, magagamit yung kanyang oras sa spin-off. Yung oras ng university is ginagamit niya sa spin-off, so therefore it's again a conflict of interest.
Okay. Due to time constraint, we shall fast track the reading. Okay, chapter 6, commercialization by researcher and establishment of spin-off firms. The entire chapter has no revision. Chapter 7, used by the government, compulsory licensing and assumption of potential IPRs. No revision. Chapter 8, under Rule 22, second paragraph. Professional fees shall be included in the computation of costs and expenses in, but not limited to, IP management, technology transfer activities, technology licensing offices, operations, research and development projects, and science and technology capability building programs. Any comment? None. Chapter 9, institutional mechanism. No revision. Chapter 10, dispute resolution. No revision. And chapter 11, the last chapter, miscellaneous, transitory, and final provisions. No revision. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think that's IPO, the last part. IPO is IPO statements.
Yes. Subject to the mediation and arbitration rules of the IPO.
Okay. IPO fee. Essentially, I believe IPO.
I think it's still IPO.
It's still IPO, Intellectual Property Office, because it depends kung saan po yung protection ninyo. Meron kasi kung minsan kayong PCT application na may national case entry kayo na sa ibang bansa. So, yung mag-govern na arbitration rules supposedly there is kung ano yung Intellectual Property Office nung bansa na yun. Kaya IPO lang po yung nakalagay dyan, sir. We do not limit the arbitration rules dun sa IPO field. Kasi in-envision natin, meron kayong commercialization record abroad.
Who determines the professional fees? Is it the DOST or the expert?
No, kayo po yan, sir, university. Kayo po nagdedetermine kung magkano po yung professional fee nyo. Dun sa mga, yung sinasabi nyo po ba yung sa FOB experts? O saan po bang,
Parang ganun.
yung sa FOB experts po, ang nagdedetermine po niya yung ating DOST-MC Circular number 1. Nandun po yung rates nung fee per meeting nung FOB. Pero yung other professional fees,
Technology transfer.
kayo po yan. Kayo po policy. Sa technology transfer protocol niyo po, pwede po kayo mag-identify kung magkano po yung inyong limits doon sa inyong professional fees. Depende po of course sa inyong pera, sa budget limitation. Yes, sir.
Matanong ko lang, ma'am, sa ngayon or existing, magkano yung binabayaran pag kumukuha ka or nagre-request ka ng FOR?
Okay. So it's 5,900 per head per meeting.
Okay,
Tatlo ang member mo ng board. Tatlo. So 5,900 times 3 per meeting. So kung fast track, isang meeting lang po yun. So yun yung magkano? 5,900 times 3, mga 15? More than 15,000. Kung fast track, 1 day evaluation, 1 meeting. Even the 10-day evaluation, 1 meeting lang din po yun. Pero kung full-blown, yung 60-day evaluation natin, umaabot po sila dyan ng maximum of 5 meetings. Pero kung bago po yung mga board, 6 meetings. Kasi yung first meeting is more on orientation of the board. Orientation of the board on the rules, on the transaction, on the documents, on the signing of their statement of no conflict of interest. Yung mga administrative matters po yung first meeting. The second meeting or third meeting is on the visit to the either licensor or licensee. So kung kung mag-agree si licensor or licensee to meet in 1 day, pwede natin mas bis yun. So 1 meeting lang. Pero kung minsan, yun na nga po yung problema, na si licensee, pagkalayo-layo ang planta, nandun sa Batangas, tapos si licensor naman ay nandito, example, sa NCR, sa Manila, usually. So, impossible, lalo na kung south and north po ang punta, na hindi po makakari ng 1 meeting. So, magdadalawang meeting, visit to licensor, licensee. Then, the fourth and the fifth meeting is on the deliberation of the board, based on their findings on the visits and interview with the licensor and the licensee. And the last meeting is the finalization of the report. So, ganun po kahaba yung proseso pinagdaanan po ng board.
So to summarize, more likely if we consider a full-blown, that's 5 times 3, and then that's about 6 meetings, so that's about
5 times
19.
3,
6,000
times
times 3, 18, so suppose 20 times.
106,200 for honorariums of the board. It does not include the representation, the food, the pamasahe, accommodation. Kung malayo po yung mga experts nyo, meron po pa yan pamasahe.
That will range from 150 to 200. something
Yeah,
like
around that.
So with regionalization,
That one will be lessened. Definitely.
thank you, ma'am.
Sa ngayon po,
Sino pala yung
requesting party po ang nakalagay dun sa, dito po sa implementing rules and regulation natin, it is the requesting party who shoulders all the cost. Ngayon po, until 2019, next year, meron pa tayong funding coming from DOST. So hindi ko pa po alam kung itutuloy po ng DOST funding yung request for Fairness Opinion Board. But this time, forced through na to the regional office. Kasi sa ngayon, nasa topic po yung funding. Kasi kami yung secretariat. But definitely, if it will be regionalized, the funds will now go to the respective regions.
Yeah. Kasi bago lang yung tech transfer sa almost lahat ng SUCs. Yung of course yung mayroon mga iba na nagta-tech transfer na. And then because bago hindi pa siya nalagay sa budget, parang gano'n, na nakalaan sa budget. So therefore, we try to consider kung magkano yung isang FOR, at least para malagay namin sa action plan namin kung ilan yung para sa FOR. Thank you.
fees be also embedded in projects?
Yes, sir. Actually, the other funding agencies of those, if you will request, they will already include that in the ano.
So every time we submit.
As long as you know na may commercial potential.
Yeah. So we can.
Yun yung patutunguhan ko. Kaya kayo nagre-request ng fees for FOB kasi magko-commercialize kayo. So definitely yung mga councils po namin nagbibigay. Ito po si Sir pala mo, yung perfect card. Si Sir, magbibigay daw po ba kayo ng funding for FOB?
So, i-bid namin sa project proposal namin. Rate of 150 to 100,000. Pag may commercial proposal.
Sa project,
Okay. Do we have any question? More questions pa? None? Yes, sir.
During the consultation conducted by IPOP, together with, I don't know, last year, one of the common problems that we have presented is that many of us SUCs have no definite budget ang mga offices. So, yung Intellectual Property Management Office, yeah. Ang ITSO is only part of that particular office. Because in our case, sa CAPSO, we have the ITSO division and then the Technology Transfer Division. So, one of the common problems that we have presented, wala ko kami specific budget. We just depend on the budget of the research and extension. So, yung ginagawa namin, we just request whatever we need and then binibigyan kami. Pag sinabing wala ng budget, so wala na rin kami. So, how could it be possible that we can integrate that one specifically on Chapter 9, Institutional Development of Institutional Policy and Institutional Mechanism? So, one of the provisions there, establishment, encouragement, establishment ng TTOs. So, how possible is it that we can include provision, statement there when such, for example, the RDIs should provide specific allocation. How possible is that, ma'am?
Sa ngayon, sir, hindi siya possible kasi we are bound by the limits of the law. The law did not say that there will be appropriation to that effect. Kasi pag mga kailangan ng appropriation, it needs to have a legislative act. So, dapat, ang a-amend natin, yung batas mismo, na ilalagay natin that para sumunod sa DBM, dapat nakalagay mismo sa law na kailangan may separate appropriation for that purpose. But since this particular law did not say na you will be given a separate appropriation for that purpose, talaga hindi po natin pwedeng i-cover yung sinasabi nyo, ilalagay natin sa implementing rules, yung ganon. We cannot compel DBM to release some funds for that purpose kasi nilagay natin sa implementing rules when it is not in the law.
No. How about, ma'am, if not really the DBM, but the RDI itself, na will have to allocate some funds out of, like, for example,
I think, sir, that's
just
part
one
of your,
other,
sir, tech trans protocol na po yan. Sa policy na po talaga yan ng university. Hindi na po pwedeng compel ng IRR nito.
Kasi
In fact,
we are trying to propose that one, pero wala kaming basis.
This one is your basis that you need to establish.
Yung establishment, ma'am, okay, we have established. Pero yung hihingi kami ng specific budget, like for example, 5% of RDE budget. Ganon. Other universities do that. Pero sa amin, we are very hard, it's very hard to convince our university presidents, especially if we cannot show something na parang ganon.
Actually, as I mentioned earlier, technology transfer and IP, management of IP is or should be an income-generating activity both for the researcher and the university.
Yes.
And as such, ang university, meron naman kayo yung fiduciary funds or yung income which the university may use at its discretion upon approval of the board. So wala pong problema yan. In fact, every now and then ang mga presidente nagpapa-approve sa amin ng mga realignment or mga additional funding. Madali naman po ipa-appreciate sa board kasi nakikita nila na essential siya sa operation ng inyong institution, especially with the advent nitong mga aakong accreditations ninyo, wherein very serious yung pagtingin doon sa inyong RD&E activities. Malaki po yung point naman. I believe no board member or no university president would withhold funding for activities that would support your accreditation.
Yes, sir. But sometimes, yung nangyayari, if we propose some activities, for example, bigla na lang sabi na, oh, sorry, wala nang budget yung research. Ubus na, exhausted na. What I mean here, na kung mayroon talaga nakalaan for IB offices ng universities, na hindi siya matouch for other activities, parang dun lang.
Sabi nga po kanina, guideline po ng university yan, and we can always withhold the approval of the budget of the university at our level sa DOST kung hindi po magko-comply si budget officer at ang inyong presidente. In fact, yesterday may isang university akong hindi in-approve yung budget because yung kanilang yung kanilang research budget is only 4% of the total budget. So sabi ko, I will not approve. Kahapon po may board meeting ang attendant, Bulacan. Hindi ko in-approve yung budget nila kasi 4% lang ng total budget ng university yung research. Pinadadagdagan ko until ma-comply na yung 10%. Babalik po nila sa akin yung for my approval.
Yes, sir. Yes, mayroong budget yung research. Yung nga lang, yung tech transfer wala, yung specific. So we just share yung budget ng research. Parang ganon. So walang specific na naka-allocate talaga for tech transfer. So whatever activities we have, kung mayroon kami paprotektahan, pinapasa lang namin sa research. Eh ngayon, pag wala ng pera yung research, wala na rin kami.
Correct. Kaya nga po, critical din po yung role ng yung Vice President po kasi part and parcel po ng research activity, yung commercialization na rin yan.
Yes.
In fact, meron pong mga university ngayon, meron na nga ngayong mga Vice President for IGP di ba? So, kasama rin po yan doon. So, I believe we can discuss this sa level po ng mga director ng DOST na we could make it a policy among us to require yung mga issues is to allocate, seriously allocate funds for that.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yun lang nahanap namin na may pakita kami to assert or ano na we should be given specific allocation para naman hindi ma-hamper yung operations ng office. Kasi nag-establish ang office pero no corresponding allocation. Parang ganun.
Aside from that po, I'm very happy to inform you that USEC gave me instruction na i-pursue yung tech transfer activities ng mga issues. In fact, promised me 5M outright para lang i-push itong commercialization activities. I think this would hold true for all the regions. Ganun naman kami. Pag may ginawang proposal sa isang region, kinocover namin lahat. So, I believe masasama po.
So, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hingin po tayo ng budget sa DOST dyan.
Actually, sir, the scenario is that when the DBM released the budget to the university, yung nakalagay lang is merong extension, may yung research lab. So, hindi nakalagay yung para sa IT or sa tech transfer. So, yung sinasabi ni sir is kung pwedeng magkaroon ng provision na mag-allocate ng budget. So, in our case, previously, kasi hindi pa na-establish yung management office, we are at the mercy of the research office. Kumbaga, kung magkano lang yung ibigay nila sa amin, yun lang. Yun lang yung operation ng office. Sa ngayon, we are still under the mercy of the research office. However, before they can allocate that to others, example, meron ganitong pie, isa-slice na dun yung IP before they can allocate. Parang ganun yung nangyayari sa amin kasi we, of course, the BPRE, our BPRE tries to consider na kahit magkaroon ng maraming researches, kung wala namang tech transfer, wala rin. Parang ganun.
Sir, meron ang lahat po ng SUC yearly nagkakaroon ng strat planning.
Yes.
After po nung strat plan, pinipresent po yan sa Academic Council at saka sa Administrative Council for approval. These are the venues na po pwede po ninyong i-raise yung concern ninyo kung nakakaligtaan yung specific unit niyo dun sa budget. Now, if hindi pa rin po pinansin sa Academic Council sa Admin Council, you may write members of the board or yung inyong faculty or non-academic region to make representations. Pag hindi po sila nag-represent for you, you could write the DOST regional director who sits sa board, and the DOST regional director may represent yung concern doon sa board proper. And I assure you, pag sinabi po ng DOST regional director, hindi pwedeng hindi sumunod yung presidente.
Just for clarification, sorry for the word numbers at the mercy. But sa amin, sa ngayon hindi na kami at the mercy. Kumbaga, sila na yung kusang nagbibigay sa amin. Not only from the research budget, but of course the extension also give us some of their budget because our mandate, the IP and the tech transfer, is to do the tech transfer not only to commercialize but also to do social responsibility in terms of trainings and other functions.
So I think that is our last comment. Yes, that ends our public hearing on the amendment of the IRR of RA10055. Yes, sir.
Bakit? Ako lang yung private institution. We knew of this public hearing only yesterday. So I rushed to come here today. We did not hear about this very short notice though, for us from the private institution. So I think it's only me who is from the private institution.
Sir, you just
He also my
represent
colleague from ITSO network.
you represent the private sector.
Buti sana kung marami kami.
Okay, so this has been a very fruitful day. At this juncture, may we hear from the director of DOS Region 3 for his closing remarks. Dr. Scan, please.
Closing down. Anyway, siguro gusto ko lang sabihin, I would like to thank the participants from this talagang very active regions covering the Visayas, no? Eastern and Western Visayas, no? Maniwala kayo kanina, lungkot na lungkot ako nung dumating ako kasi nakita ko aalog-alog tayo. But when you started speaking your mind, wow, parang nakita ko si Rowan eh. You know, Director Rowan Gelonga is one of the most eloquent speakers sa mga regional directors. Every time na may meeting kami, talagang substantial yung mga sinasabi niya. And I could sense that from each and every one of you. Ganun kaya talaga? Yan ba vlog talaga ninyo dito, ano? Talagang, I just would like to thank you for giving all those inputs, no? Lahat po ng inyong sinabi, we took that in seriously, and we will consider that in finalizing po yung ating mga recommended improvements dun sa ating ginagawa. And as I mentioned earlier, this would redound to the benefit of the people. And then, as I mentioned then, aside from looking for a way to really bring the fruits of science and technology doon sa different levels ng ating clientele, meaning doon sa ating mga technologies for common good, for social welfare and all this. And at the same time, we should also consider technologies that could be commercialized, meaning commercialized na meron talagang malaking sign ng peso para po both for the university and for the researcher. I believe I share these ideals with Yusek Geb na researchers and researchers should be generating income. Nakita natin yan sa mga ibang bansa, talaga namang pinagkikitaan po nila ang mga intellectual property. Hindi dapat mahuli ang Pilipinas kasi we have no shortage of talent, sabi ko nga. I always tell this sa lahat ng region na pinupuntahan ko. There is no shortage of talent in the regions. It just so happened that in the past decades, masyadong na monopolize ng mga areas na highly urbanized yung access to timely and accurate information. Kaya tayo nauunahan, but with the advent of IT, na ipakita po ng mga regions na even sa mga board exams ang nagtatap na ngayon ay mga taga-regions. Isa po itong magandang indication that new and innovative technologies could really come from the regions, and that's what we are doing now. That's what we would like to show, and that's why we are here today to help each one bring the fruit of science and technology to a higher level. Yun po ang pangarap natin lahat para sa atin, at sana po ay huwag kayong bibitaw sa amin kung kami po may mga pagkukulang ngayon relative sa timely invitations and preparations. We would like to apologize, but we would like to keep you as partners of the government, as partners of the people that we serve in trying to bring a better Philippines. Magandang umaga po.
Thank you, sir. So now, before we have our lunch, may we request everyone na dito muna sa harap para magkaroon naman tayo ng group photo. And then afterwards, we can proceed outside. I think the food is already prepared. Siguro po yung mga matatangkad sa likod para dito kayo. Sana lang yan. Okay, thank you. Dinner served already.
May appearance. Ito kami si isa na mangayo. Si Kuwak.